Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to Daily Mail FTM. It's the last day of our Trans Assumptions week, and this is very an interesting topic. I think a lot of the guys have covered most of what I personally find is a lot of assumptions that I've gotten from either friends or my family. But there's one that's very different, and it's very personal to me, something I am very strongly opinionated on, and I will try to keep it very low-key just because of how I feel about this very specific subject. So I'll save that for the end of the video because I'll probably rant a little bit anyway. So yeah. The first one is definitely a bigger one that was one of the first questions I was asked by my family when I came out as trans to them, and that was, aren't you just gay? Are you just confused maybe? And to which I replied no, because before I came out as trans I'd only ever dated guys. I'd never dated girls, partially because I've always seen myself as bisexual. I don't, I've been into relationships with guys before I came out as trans, and then I basically exclusively dated girls after I came out. So maybe I could understand, but it didn't really make sense. I just date people based on how they are, if they accept me mostly. So that didn't really seem to make any sense, and yeah, so it's just not true. The surgery is one, definitely another one that you just hear that you're just going to go in and you just magically have this surgery that just changes you, and that's not the case. A lot of people spend a lot of time without surgery at all before they actually go get it done. Hormones are usually the first thing people start on, just because it is actually reversible. To an extent, you start them and you kind of cop out halfway through, or in a few months you realize this isn't for you. Most of those changes are irreversible after the first little while. But for me, no, you don't just go in and have this magical surgery. In Canada, in some places it's covered, some places it's not. It's a very expensive surgery. Top surgery is one I'm actually on the waiting list for right now, so in the next couple of years, hopefully the next year. Doing it because it's trendy is another one that I get a lot, because conveniently when I actually came out as trans is when the trans movement kind of took off, and so I think it was just bad timing. There's a lot of trans advocates out there, and it was more the timing, because I actually didn't know what being trans meant until a few months before I actually came out, and then I didn't start hormones until almost 3 years after, so I had a lot of time to think about it, and I think I was 20 when I came out as being trans. No, I don't remember, that's not important. Anyway, yeah, so I had a lot of time to think about it, and I wasn't just doing it because it's trendy, although I do notice some people do, and that's a completely other beast that I don't even want to get into, because it really grinds my gears when people do that. I can label myself as an egalitarian, I can label myself as a humanitarian, I can label myself as whatever I want. But feminists, more often than not, argue with you because, oh, you believe in equality, so you're automatically a feminist. They don't like the term egalitarian, they don't like the term humanitarian, they like feminism, because feminism is very one-sided. It is the advocation of women's rights, and that's it. That's the bottom line. And anything that goes against it, they automatically say is not real feminism, when, more often than not, it is. Because if they're going by the definition of feminism and what feminism stands for, they're feminists, and they're doing it in the name of feminism. There are TERF feminists out there who are real feminists, who are very transphobic. They think that trans men are slaves to the patriarchy, and they think that they want to be sexist towards women, so they change into men. And that is the most offensive thing anybody could say. And feminists they don't necessarily stand for this. There's TERF feminism, radical feminism, and regular feminism. But it's all feminism. It's all feminism. It's the same thing. I never see anything relating to men's body positivity, and being a trans man, I have no body positivity. I feel like shit in my own body, and feminism does not support me, whereas I have found so much more home and so much more support in people who are egalitarians and humanitarians than I ever have in people who are feminists. I'm not harping on feminists and saying that they're terrible people, but I'm saying I do not respect people who do not respect me as a human. There's a lot of reasons why I don't, and TERF radical feminism is one of the main reasons I'm not, because A lot of that stuff leaks over into regular feminism, and I do not agree with it because it doesn't support me and it doesn't respect trans women and trans men. A lot of feminists who are completely allowed to treat men like garbage and perpetuate stereotypes against them and make fun of white boys. I don't like it. I don't like the attitude that feminists project. It's not an equality movement, and I don't care. You know, I've never considered myself one, and I think that's one of the most offensive things, is to assume that I'm a feminist just because I have a vagina. That's very, very sexist and very stereotypical. So, yeah. If you'd like to learn more, please check out my blog. I'm not going to go much more into it, because I know some people are feminists, and that's cool, but just make sure that if you're a feminist, that you do your job as a good feminist, and you educate yourself on real factual information, and you don't just go off of stereotypes that other feminists have come across, and you create as gospel. To add to that, don't do your research on Tumblr, do not do your research on Facebook, and definitely do not do your research on Huffington Post, because they post all kinds of falsified information and one-sided information. So I suggest you actually do take interest in studying gender studies, not just for women, but for men too, because being a trans man is something that I, live my life every single day, and I look for ways to help other trans men with their body positivity issues, and feminism just doesn't have that. And if you found it in feminism, well, good for you, I guess. But anyway, so that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. And if you want to check out our next week's topic, we are discussing our inspirations on being transgender, which will be a very broad subject, so make sure you tune in for that. And as always, thank you for liking and subscribing to our pages. Have a good day.